Good morning. So I had to literally double check it, triple check it. At the time, actually, I was picking the kids up and I just checked my phone to see that there was a electricity bill of £140,000 for one of our studios. And I was like, what the hell? It's like a speaker playing, some lights. There must be something wrong here. And the worrying part is I was checking the digits. Going, they actually line up. And I was like, the numbers match. And I'm in a mad rush at this time. And I ring the landlord at the same time, to which, because I had a missed call from them, so I thought, it must be something to do with this. There must be something. And they said, they seem to have a wrong number. And I was like, relief. Like, must be wrong. And they're using someone else's number rather than yours. I was like, okay, cool. And their number is da-da-da-da-da. And I'm thinking, that's still one digit less. And it still works out at around that big 140,000. I'm thinking, what's going on? Until I look back at the picture that we sent them, and in the number, one of the numbers is a red number at the end of the meter, and there should be a decimal point between the last two numbers, which means you actually avoid that number anyway. And so it works out that it's actually, it should be about, £50 or something like that. Now, my point in sharing this is obviously I had a massive relief on that, and that I panicked too, blimey. And the good news is we're still open. There's a £140,000 electric bill. Not sure what would happen then. Where's Matt gone in his live chat? Yeah. So but it's a reminder that the small things really matter. Like those 1 minute, 5 minute, 10 minute workouts that we think are seemingly pointless, that stopping at 3 biscuits when you would normally stop at 6, where you think, I've messed up now, but actually you've made progress still. To do only 1 workout this week when you would normally do 3, or 20 years ago you would have done hockey, played this, gone hiking, and now you're only doing 1 workout, so it's pointless. These are the things that add up, and we have to be aware of where we are right now. I could go on. Now, this is the same with nutrition research, and it gets everyone confused. And I hope that, at Fruci Fit, we can contribute to almost calling this out and actually helping everyone understand better, to be empowered with the information, to make better informed decisions. This is why we do our Q&As. This is why I jump on here every day, because it's all well and good me telling you what to do and us telling you what to do, but it's not going to teach you anything. And actually, we want you to be empowered to make choices and stop that all or nothing mindset. Because when you are empowered by this, you know what works, what you need to do, and we can facilitate that for you. And that's why we're here. We want you to win. So forgive me if this gets a little bit researchy, but I want to share this because when I was at Loughborough and Oxford Brookes, actually doing my postgrad research and postgraduate studies, I used to get really frustrated when they used to say, you got to do research methods. I was being like, what's the point of that? I just want to learn about food, nutrition and exercise. And the key thing about this is when you understand that, you have the ability to then analyze and look at any research really among many areas. Obviously not an expert in every field, but you're able to look at that and go, let's have a look at the actual study. What's it actually showing? And I'll give you, I wrote a blog the other week and did a video on this, in fact, about sweeteners. Are they bad for you? Do they cause cancer? All of that comes out. Now, number one, you have to look at, are there actually any reliable studies in humans? The answer is no. Most of them give massively superficial amounts in rodents, which, 1, we're not rodents, 2, we wouldn't have that amount unless we were literally eating the sweetener, or like they did in the study, actually inject it into you at that amount into the bloodstream. Now, there was then one study quite recently which I think made a few headlines showing that about sweeteners and cancer. Now, they can conclude with a headline in the media that sweeteners are associated with higher risk of cancer. You could do a headline on this. Now, I'm going to break this down. I hope you stay with me with this. in why this is totally wrong, or really bad in how they've done this. So in the actual study, people who had higher intakes of sweeteners actually had a lower risk of cancer compared to those who had a lower amount of sweetener. I'll say that again. People who had higher intakes of sweeteners had a lower, slightly, risk of cancer compared to people who had a lower amount of sweetener. So, okay, the more sweetener you had, the lower your risk in this study. But this just obviously means that there's no relationship really between sweetener and cancer. However, they can conclude on this that there was still an increased risk because from baseline, there is a relative risk. Now, relative is different from absolute. So let's say, like, you know, there's a risk of 1% of someone getting cancer. I'm just giving you an overview here. And the relative increased risk is 15%. That actually isn't as big as you think, because that's 15% of 1%. Now, if I'm lost you here, that would mean that your increased risk, say, of living life, your risk today is 1% of getting cancer, argument's sake. The increased risk of having a drink is 1.15%, and that's having like a massive amount. But like I said, even if they conclude that, there's no association, because people who had more artificial sweeteners actually had a reduced risk of cancer compared to the people who had lower amounts. So my point in here is it's just purely quite a poor interpretation of the research. The research is fine, they're just sharing data, but then the media can spin that how they want. Anyone can spin that how they want. But the fact is, there's pretty much no association there at all. If anything, you could argue, you could flip that the other way and go, oh, it's actually protective because people who had more had lower risk. But obviously there's not an association really, because it's that minor difference. And there's also other variables, right? Like that they do account for, but you need to consider this, that people who have artificial sweeteners may be on a weight loss journey. So they might be making that change there. And actually some of the research shows that people who swapped high sugar drinks for artificially sweetened drinks actually did better than people who switched from high sugar to water, mainly because they felt like they were getting something from it. And this is the difference between analysing and researching rodents and rats and analysing and researching humans in free living conditions where we're bombarded by information. We've got garages offering us £1 chocolate bars. I could go on. Anyway, I'll stop there. And I hope that helps just give you a better idea of just how much we need to be empowered to understand this and how things can easily be twisted. But any questions on that, do let me know. And that's why we're here. We want you to, 1, take action, 2, be empowered to make better informed decisions about this. So this can stop being so confusing. Actually, that's why we break this down in our program, actually, into our 3 Fs, our food, our fitness, that focus, mindset, habit. If you do today, it will make everything else easier or unnecessary, whether you fast, keto, vegan, etc. That's entirely up to you, and we can discuss that on a different basis. Anyway, any questions, let me know. Our next Kickstart begins end of month. So drop a Kickstart in below if you want more information on that, and I'll see you soon. Take care.